Shudder has upped their game with the second season of Creepshow. This season promises bigger stars and scarier stories, but no Marilyn Manson. 3 episodes containing 2 tales each have been released, so I figured it's a good time to check out this series. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights YouTube page and give it a like. Please share with all of your buddies. Click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Creepshow Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3, is new streaming on Shudder. Each episode is directed and written by different folks, and I'll let you know who those are as we go along. I know I'm going to take some flack for this, but I found Episode 1 to be extremely disappointing. Model Kid is directed by series producer Greg Nicotero and written by John Esposito, and basically it's a retelling of the connecting segments of the original Creepshow movie as an overbearing father figure tosses out the toys and magazines of a kid who loves horror. In order to be 25 minutes in length, this one has the kid orphaned when his mother dies of cancer and ends up having to live with his aunt and uncle. While it's always fun to see Kevin Dillon on screen, he really doesn't have much to do other than be drunk and overbearing the whole time. Meanwhile, the kid who loves horror plots his revenge on Dillon, who keeps belittling the kid for not liking sports like normal kids. Sure, I identified with the horror kid and was joyous to see the jerk get his comeuppance, but if you've seen the original Creepshow, you've already seen a much more thrilling version of this story. It does have some great effects. There's an awesome Frankenstein, and the Gill Man looks really cool, but this was a lackluster way of beginning this season. The second part of Episode 1 is called Public Television of the Dead, and honestly, I can't believe this segment was made without the show getting sued. I know Greg Nicotero worked on Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. He once again directs from a story by Rob Schrab. This is basically what would happen if the Evil Dead occurred in a live public access show. Which is fine, but that's literally what it is. Ted Raimi is there, the Necronomicon is there are deadites and soul swallowing, and everything you would think of that would be in an Evil Dead movie. The problem is that because of the short length of the tale, it doesn't give a lot of the elements a chance to breathe and evolve. This one has about 3 or 4 interesting story elements that I think would have been a stellar episode all on their own, but instead it smashes them together and only grazes over their potential. I would have loved to have seen the story of the bitchy children's show host getting what she deserves, or see the Bob Ross pastiche go nuts and have a Nam flashback in the middle of an episode. Those are awesome ideas. And yeah, it's great to see the callbacks to Evil Dead, and Ted Raimi is always great, but it's just kind of felt hollow to me. The comedy didn't work for me, and neither did this episode, sadly. Things turn around drastically in Episode 2, as I felt both of these installments were some of the best of the series. From interesting ideas to twisted takes on old tropes, this is the kind of stuff I want to see more of with this Creepshow series. Dead and Breakfast is directed by Axel Carolyn, who directed an episode of Netflix's Haunting of Bly Manor, and it was written by Michael Rousselet and Eric Sandoval. It stars Ali Larter and C. Thomas Howell as siblings who own a bed and breakfast in a home where their grandmother murdered those who stayed there. Attempting to cash in on the place as a tourist attraction, the 2 opportunists enticed a YouTube influencer to stay the night. But when the influencer isn't impressed with what she sees, things start to get murderous and bloody. Larter and Howell are great here as the bickering siblings. Neither have been on my radar as of late, but both deliver very strong performances, especially Larter. The story also is full of twists and turns that highlight the devious tone the original Creepshow had. I guess you could say this is a more traditional tale, but it felt original and had the right amount of mayhem and deception that those old EC horror comics had in abundance. I also love the second part of Episode 2, entitled Pesticide. Directed by Greg Nicotero again, and written by Frank Dietz, this one focuses on a morally ambiguous exterminator who is just as likely to infect your home with bugs as he is to get rid of them, depending on the way you treat him. The Walking Dead's Josh McDermott does his best Bill Paxton impression as the exterminator who is later hired by a wealthy businessman, played by Ernie Hudson, to take care of the large human-sized pest problem in the homeless community behind his factory. Ashley Lawrence also stars as a therapist with a roach problem, and if there's one complaint, I guess she's underutilized in the episode. This episode gets wonderfully creepy as the exterminator tries to deal with his fraying sanity. This is a classic descent into madness story where reality, as the protagonist knows it, crumbles around him. The final moments of this one even has an awesome reference to the original Fly, which is always one of my favorites. I was fearful from the title that this was going to be a clone of They'll Creep Up on You from the original Creepshow movie, but was pleasantly surprised by the mix of horror, humor, practical effects, and simple, surreal shit going on. Episode 3 continues strong with The Right Stuff, directed by Joe Lynch, who delivered the excellent Mayhem a while back, and written by Paul Dini, of Batman the Animated Series fame, Stephen Langford, and Greg Nicotero. This one, set in space, feels like a classic Twilight Zone episode. It's got wonky future science, but it feels set in the 50s by the way the astronauts, Ryan Quantin and Breckin Meyer, are dressed. This one achieves a lot with very little as it develops a strong character piece about jealous astronauts and who gets to go down in history as the first astronaut to contact alien life. Things get dark in that little ship, and both actors, who again I haven't seen in a while, perform the script fantastically. The practical puppeteering of the aliens is also nice and hokey, yet strangely disturbing, due to some uncanny valley action. While Episode 2 is the strongest whole installment by far, this is my favorite single tale. Finally, Episode 3 offers up sibling rivalry from director Rusty Cundiff, who directed the Evil Dad segment of Tales from the Hood, and written by Melanie Dale. While I usually am turned off by teen speak, and this one is full of it, I had a blast with this witty and shocking little story of a teenager attempting to figure out what the hell is happening in her world as she reveals to her counselor, played by Molly Ringwald, that her brother is trying to kill her. The dialogue is fast and crisp, full of great beats of humor, and the payoff of this short and sweet little tale is pretty perfect. I don't want to spoil what type of horror is delved into in this one, but I love the practical effects of the mouth appliances in this twisty and turny shocker. All in all, I found 4 out of the 6 installments pretty strong. The series definitely feels like it's upped its ante on all fronts. I think where Creepshow falls flat is when the series attempts to be cute and self-referential. The thing that made the best episodes shine so far is that they took chances, captured the feel of those old EC comics, and had fun with the unexpected storylines. I can't wait to check out the rest of this season as it drops, and I'll pop back with a review of this series at the end of this season. What do you guys think is Creepshow's second season so far? Let me know down in the comments. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down below in the comments and let me know how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. So guys, you know how YouTube works. I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to this channel. I'm not monetized yet, so if you want to help me out, remember to hit all the pertinent bells and whistles down below. Want some spooky comics to read? I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look out for. Both Grave Trancers and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, can be found in only the finest of comic book shops. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on my website, mlmillerwrites.com. If you really want to show your support, I also have a Patreon page at mlmiller. Look for the link to my Patreon page down below. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're